So I've put 100 miles on the Adidas Evo SLs, and as a 200-pound average runner, I think I figured out what exactly this shoe is good at and what it's not. So instead of going through every single spec of the shoe, here's what actually matters after 100 miles. So this shoe is very light, especially for a non-race day shoe at around 8 ounces. So the shoe has a standard 7mm drop and the MSRP is only 140 bucks. And since these shoes have been out for a while, you can easily find these Evo SLs on sale. Basically, I think this is Adidas' way of giving people that race day shoe feel in a shoe that you can actually train in every day. And again, the Evo SLs is a non-carbon plated shoe, so you can easily run in these shoes on a daily basis. But personally, I'm not a huge fan of using the Evo SLs on, daily easy runs or even recovery runs. The shoe is just so light and responsive. It just doesn't feel right for me at my easy run pace at about 9 minutes per mile. But for any kind of steady or moderate paced run, or maybe even a 5K to 10K, tempo workout, I would easily pick the Evo SL. One thing I have noticed when working out with the Evo SLs is that my cadence improves dramatically, especially compared to a heavier shoe like the Vomero Pluses. And really, I usually hit the same step per minute or cadence in the Evo SLs as my, race day meta speed skies. And really, I think the responsiveness of the foam and of course the lightweight just makes it so much easier to have quicker feet and spend less time on the ground compared to a heavier shoe. So for me, faster runs is where the Evo SL really stands out. Now, as I mentioned, I do have around 100 miles on this shoe and they seem to be holding up pretty well, which to me is kind of surprising that they've held up extremely well after 100 miles, because when I first got these shoes right out of the box, I picked them up and I was like, what is this? They almost seem like a knockoff running shoe, especially when you're used to like the Asics and the Nikes. And at first the Evo SL seems like they're cheaply made shoes, but they're really not. I think Adidas just used the bare minimum amount of material to definitely try to keep the weight down on these shoes, which worked out really well. And I've seen runners online post that they have, 300-400 miles on the Evo SLs without much wear and tear at all, which is pretty impressive for only a, $140 shoe. But the Evo SL just isn't a slow cruiser type shoe for me. It's definitely not a Brooks, Glycerin Max or a Nike Vomero Plus. But as you can see, there's definitely, not much wear at all on the bottom of these Evo SLs, even after 100 miles. And I definitely pretty much abuse my running shoes. Now, one thing I didn't like initially with the Evo SLs is the lack of, side-to-side structure or support. And if you're not used to lightweight or race day shoes, the first time you put these shoes on, at least to me, it felt like I just put on like ice skates. When I first put these shoes on, I definitely felt unstable compared to a more structured running shoe. And it's kind of hard to see, but you can definitely tell just how, flexible and not very supportive these shoes actually are. So if you're fairly new to running and you've only put some miles on a heavier shoe like a Vomero Plus or some of the Asics out there, this Evo SL may take some time getting used to. And I would be a little careful at first running in the Evo SLs if you are one of those people, because I do remember after my first 10K in these shoes, I had a little bit of ankle pain, probably because of the lack of structure in this shoe. But over the last year of running, my ankle, strength has improved, so I have no problem now running in the Evo SLs. And I really think that's who these shoes are made for, more the seasoned runner, if you will. So if you want a quicker, lighter shoe without jumping all the way up to the $250 to $300, full carbon plate racing shoes, the Adidas Evo SL is a great option, especially at 140 bucks or less. So after 100 miles in the Adidas Evo SLs, as a 200-pound runner, even at full price, would I still buy them again? Absolutely. The Evo SL is just a simple, great running shoe. There's nothing flashy about this shoe, like the, say a Super Blast 3, but if you just want a light, quick, responsive shoe for not a lot of money, this is a great buy. And even after 100 miles of running, the Evo SLs are still in my running shoe rotation. Anyway, I appreciate you watching the video, and I'll see you again next week.